Week 4 of the NFL season is here. We've got the Pick Six Vodka NFL Pick'em to come and our abysmal records 3 weeks into the season. It's Onorato and company, Chris Onorato and Ashley Miller. The news of the week, though, and it will continue to be through the weekend in terms of how he extends that home run number. Aaron Judge has ended his home run drought. 7 games without one. He is now, as we sit here on a Thursday, at 61 single-season home runs, Ash.
Off the schneid. People were waiting. The people were restless, but yeah, off the schneid. 61.
Yeah, now we can all continue to watch for 62.
Yep.
This is Onorato and Company, brought to you by Alpenhaus.
Shout out to Andy Heck and Katie Osborne, the great people at Alpenhaus, for being our presenting sponsor each and every single week. Aaron Judge now at 61 home runs, Ash. And before I say the glowing things we're going to say about him, I've watched back videos with 3 different play-by-play calls of his home run last night. They are all awful. Awful. The ball goes over the wall. Tell people that's 61 and shut up. There were 3 announcers. Now, one was on the radio. I'll cut him a little bit of slack because you're supposed to paint a little bit of a picture on the radio in terms of what was happening. But that didn't happen. It was just this historical reference repeated. Everybody knows what is happening at this point. The ball goes over the wall. Tell us it's 61 and get out of the way, as they say in this business. From home plate to home plate, all 3 announcers didn't stop talking. Enough. Your name is attached to the historic moment. Let that be that. Broadcasters back in the day, I sound like the old guy here, but these are old broadcasters I'm talking about, the 3 guys who I heard do play-by-play of this. They should know. Let the moment be. Let it breathe. Tell us it's a home run and that it's number 61 and maybe that he tied Roger Maris, and then get out of the way. Well, I've heard way too much in this process about announcers not having the opportunity to call this home run. Then I'm watching fans who didn't catch the ball like it was the end of their life. And I'm thinking to myself, in both instances, this is not your moment. This is Aaron Judge's moment. This is a moment for Roger Maris Jr. It's a moment for Judge's mom, who is in the stands. Let him have the moment. If you caught the ball, are you telling me you were going to keep it to sell it for $1 million? I mean, I know it's easy for me to say here, but having seen enough of these historic home runs and the awful way it's handled between fan and athlete, I would give the ball to Aaron Judge. It's his ball. It's his home run. It's his moment. And what I just couldn't believe that these 3 broadcasters who I admire just didn't get it right last night. That bothered me.
That was your moment.
That was my moment. I just,
You're very angry about it.
Yes, I was surprised by it. I was surprised. And as he's rounding the bases, I just kept thinking, stop talking. Stop talking.
Yeah. I don't hate it as much as you did. It didn't really bother me. I think the fact that it had taken so long affects how you call that. Like, if it had not been a week, if he had hit it a day later, maybe they would have shut up. It felt like they had to kind of fill the gap and be like, finally, it's happened. We did it, whatever. And I know you say, okay, they talked all the way around the bases. I get it. You're also not at Yankee Stadium, so you're probably not going to get
I hear that.
Quite the same effect with just like the natural ambiance of it all. And you did listen, there were definitely cheers. It was a cool moment regardless. If it's at Yankee Stadium, I think they shut up a lot faster.
Okay, fine. But I'm going to push back on this here.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's television.
Yep.
Let the pictures tell the story. Let the video of Maris's son with Judge's mom in the stands hugging tell the picture. Let let the video of Judge rounding the bases and cutaways to the dugout, let that tell I'm watching this. I don't need all of the commentary throughout. It just was a moment that needed its space, and we didn't get any of that. And that surprised me. That surprised me. Okay. That's the end of
What
that.
about him? Forget the announcers.
Yeah, I
made it about the announcers.
I understand. I did, and I said I was going to say something negative before I got into the positives of it all. Jeff Casey says he remembers the silence of Chris Berman, of all people. Chris Berman, of all people.
Never quiet.
Quiet when Ripken hit that home run on his historic night when he broke Lou Gehrig's record. That was Orioles Angels. Nick Matalone is an Orioles fan. He's going Houday, though. He always goes Houday for his Cincinnati Bengals, a Thursday night game. Bengals and Dolphins, interesting game on Thursday Night Football. Nick is our NFL Pick'em guest picker this week, courtesy of Marcella's Appliance Center. All right, so here's the situation at home on Wednesday night. I was awake for 3 of his at-bats, I think. I was awake for 3 of Aaron Judge's at-bats. He come up 4 times?
He did. Yeah, because we said the 7th might be
homered in his last at-bat.
Yeah.
So I'm awake for 3 of them. At the end of it all, I just say I'm going to bed. It's, not that late, but it was 9 o'clock maybe, right? So I'm up, I'm in bed, I'm trying to sleep, but truthfully, I'm thinking, is this guy doing it? I have my phone. I'm looking at my phone. I'm checking the Braves game. I'm looking at what the Mets are doing. I then decide enough is enough. I put the phone down. I'm trying to sleep. I hear this downstairs. Just one. It was just one clap. And I knew, dang, I missed it. I can't believe I have found a way to watch every at-bat in the last week and a half up to this point. And the one that I don't watch, he hits it out. I knew it immediately that you would clap downstairs and that Judge had hit one out. So what do? I pick up my phone and I make sure I'm like, I cannot believe I missed 61. Can't believe it.
Sorry. I mean, I would have felt worse if you were asleep.
True story though, right?
True story. It wasn't like it. I was not like, and I don't even know. I think it was just like even unconscious, subconscious, thing. Cause I remember being like, oh, I was quiet. That's good. Yeah. And you're like, I heard your clap.
Oh, all right. Let's talk about the accomplishment here. 61 home runs for Judge. It comes in a clutch moment as well, which you were quick to point out that it was a tie game. The Yankees going to win this thing 8-3 on Wednesday over the Blue Jays. 62 is really the number. Okay. Yeah. I mean, we've obsessed over the at-bats to get to 60. 62 is the number. It's obviously well within reach here with 7 games to go. Ahead of a weekend series against Baltimore and then going to Texas. But number 61, it is a number we haven't seen in 21 years since Bonds hit 73 in 01. What do you think?
I think there's a lot. Listen, I'm going to explain a little bit. And I know this is not like a first take of anyone's, but it's been well documented. All of the numbers involved in this situation to me are very prophetic and like it to me, it feels like a little bit deeper than baseball. And I know that sounds weird, but like you have Maris who hit 61 in 1961. 61 years later, a guy wearing 99 to Roger Maris's 9, which is retired in Monument Park, wearing 99 hit 61 home runs. To me, the whole thing just feels like it was a little bit meant to be.
So would you like it to stay at 61?
No, I want him to break it. But to have it happen 61 years later, the number is 61. It's all just kind of so bizarre to me. Yeah, I mean, listen, what an accomplishment. There are people, and 73 is the number. That is the number that Barry Bonds hit, whether you agree with it or not. Did he cheat his way to it? Sure, he did. But that's the number that exists. It will exist. He will not catch that number. But I think to a lot of people, just in their mind, it's kind of like the people who don't believe that Barry Bonds' record stands or is fair or whatever are going to say, okay, Aaron Judge has the most legitimate home run record. He doesn't have the home run record. That's how it goes. The accomplishment is fantastic. What he has done this year, and I think we've said this, he's hit for average. He's in the Triple Crown mix. He's leading the American League in average. Currently, I think he's at 314. He will be untouched in home runs and RBIs. That won't even be close. So it'll be whether or not he can keep that average up as he tries to swing for number 62. The accomplishment is ridiculous. What we've seen, we might never see again. And this is what you talk about is like, maybe you never see this again. We saw it with Bonds and McGuire, but then realized it wasn't, legit. This is seemingly legit. We may never see it again. Even from Aaron Judge, we may never see it again. This is something that is hard to replicate. It's not like he can just come back next year and be like, yeah, let me just hit 60 more home runs.
Right. Judge hit 52. Alonso then hit 53 the following year. Stanton has gotten into the upper 50s.
9.
So guys have been in the 50s occasionally. But you're right. This never felt attainable by a clean baseball player in our lifetime. And here we are. You referenced the Triple Crown. He's sitting at 313 on this Thursday. He's tied with a rise from Minnesota. So it won't be necessarily easy. But I do think this, Ash. I think, Ash, that now that he's at 61, I know 62 is the number, and we keep saying he's got to break it, right? Not tie it. Who cares about a tie? Nobody wants that. I think he loosens up big time. Going home against the Orioles, I think there's a weight off him now that, like, if I do nothing else this season, I would at least be tied for the record. I think he might hit one Friday. He might just have a monster weekend, and I think ultimately, I think he's going to win the Triple Crown. I think he's seeing the ball really well. Look at all the walks he's taking. He's not swinging at bad pitches. So I think he ends up with the Triple Crown. I think he ends up with the American League record of 62 or more. And if he does that, I don't want to hear these Shohei Ohtani people about MVP in the American League. You win the Triple Crown, you are the MVP.
Jeff, you don't actually need us to answer this question, right? I mean,
yeah,
that's not how it goes anymore.
No, it's not.
Baseball has changed. Everything about baseball has changed. The pitching has changed. The balls have changed. The bats have changed. The people have changed.
We almost need to readjust the Triple Crown. Here's my proposal. Okay. Get rid of average in the Triple Crown. The player who has the highest OPS with more home runs and RBIs, you are the Triple Crown winner. OPS is a more valued statistic than batting average these days. So why not make that part of the Triple Crown criteria here instead of average? We talk about average, and it's one of the it's the stat that shows up on TV. But maybe in 5 years, I don't think it's the stat that shows up on TV anymore. ESPN was leading that with their Sunday Night Baseball bottom line stat a couple of years ago. I think they still showed average, but it was not the first number you saw to the left of your screen. It was OPS, home runs, RBIs, and then I think they may have backfilled with average.
Yeah, I get it. I'm an average person, but I'm not average. I'm above average. I understand that about myself, but but I like average. This is interesting, and I don't know if it's true across the board, but I think it will be true. Although I'm not a believer in. Listen, I think the shift is stupid because so many times it doesn't work, but so many times it does work. I always say learn to hit around where they're standing. Like if they're shifting right, then and people don't bunt enough, in my opinion. Lay a bunt down the first baseline. There are ways to get on despite the shift, but I agree. I think averages probably will go up a little bit for specific players who are very either pull specific or opposite hitter specific. I think he's probably right.
Yeah, I think you're right too. And the shift, when you say the shift works, it isn't just because somebody grounds into or lines out into the shift. The shift works anytime an out, I think, is made because you're affecting the way that guy is approaching that at bat. So whether he strikes out, pops up, whatever, I would say the shift worked because now you're mentally forcing somebody to try to do something differently. Yeah.
Yep.
Nick says those extra large bases, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Couple
I mean,
inches.
it's definitely intended to increase stolen base attempts.
Yep.
More than anything. But yeah, by the way, how about this? We talk about infield hits. Jeff Casey's bringing up the point of learning to bunt and use the bunt. The Atlanta Braves do not have a single successful sacrifice bunt this season. They would be the first team in Major League Baseball history to go a full season without a successful sacrifice bunt. In fact, there is no team that has played a full season, right, beyond the 2020 pandemic year, that had fewer than 4. So,
wow.
This is a team that is in contention for first place in a division, and it's not a bad division.
That
The Mets
either can't bunt or chooses not to bunt.
Can't and doesn't want to, but
Well, if
can't
you
is
can't, then you
absolutely
should choose not to.
Can't is absolutely part of the conversation here.
Yeah,
Absolutely part of the conversation. Right, maybe they choose not to because they absolutely can't. Mark, first-time commenter here. Mark, good to have you part of the show, man. Thanks. Major league hitters should be able to adapt their stance or bunt to beat the shift, no doubt. Even Joey Gallo did it. Boy, are the Dodgers good or the Dodgers good? All right, when we come back here on Onorato and Company, we're getting into week 4 of the NFL season. We've got the Pick Six Vodka NFL Pick'em still to come here on the show. Nick Matalone from Marcella's Appliance Center will be our guest picker. We'll run back over last week's selections. We are slow out of the gate. And I am taking a little bit of a different approach this week, as our graphics guy, John Conlin, was quick to notice in my approach. We've got that, and we're looking back on what was a wild week 3 as well. College football weekend looks pretty good, too. We've got a long way to go here on Onorato Company and a lot to get to. Back right after this.
Teams. Athletes. Organizations. We're transforming the custom apparel industry through product and purpose. Claim your crown.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
And now back to Onorato and Company, brought to you by Alpen House.
Here's a look at all of our local business partners on this show. Michelob Ultra brought to you by Saratoga Eagle. Thanks to our guys at Novice Clothing Company, Nick and Garrett Bernardo. Marcella's Appliance Center as well, of course, on with us from the very beginning. Nice Scoba, our guy Jimmy Miller. Proud to support the show as well, and we love having him as part of this. KPM Restoration, a local company doing big things across the right. When we had all the flooding in St. Louis, they went. We've got the incredible hurricane and now tropical storm damage in Florida. They are there. They packed up a truck yesterday. They sent some employees ahead of time, but they drove the truck down filled with some supplies to try to get people, as they say, back to normal. Good on them to try to do what they can in a state that is hurting. It's going to be a region that's hurting because it looks like the coast of South Carolina and Georgia going to get hit pretty hard as well.
How are the Braves and Mets going to play this weekend?
So, look, we talk sports, okay? Yeah. I know Carol is thinking about her family down in Florida as well. If you have family and friends down there, I know they are on your minds. Yep. We talk sports. It's what we do. And maybe it gives you an hour away from everything else that's going on in the world. So the sports world wants to know, how are we going to deal with this Hurricane Ian? The Buccaneers moved out of Tampa. Now, look, Tampa ended up, I'm going to say, doing okay because the storm moved more easterly than I think the original track showed. So Tampa got a lot of rain and certainly some wind, but the Bucs moved out of there ahead of time. They went to Miami to practice. That Sunday night game between the Chiefs and Bucs, I think they're still going to play. They're looking at Minneapolis as an option to play Sunday night if they can't. My guess is they're going to play that game Sunday night in Tampa Bay. Major League Baseball said, we're going to keep this series in Atlanta. They entertained some other ideas, like maybe we move it up to Thursday. They're going to play the series in Atlanta currently as constituted Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, but they could go early Friday and doubleheader Sunday. There's some flexibility,
right. I mean,
obviously.
You're going to get rained out at some point, right?
I don't know. I think this storm is more east than people figured it would be. I think it looked like it was going to go right over the top of Atlanta, and that's not the case anymore. So
this thing is like big. It doesn't just like skip a city.
Yeah, I get it. Look, I don't know. I could look up the forecast for the next 3 days in Atlanta, but baseball says we're going to play the series there. They must know. So the last thing I want is for them to try to jam one game in on October, what would be 6th, between the end of the regular season and the beginning of the wild card. That is a nightmare. I would rather forfeit the division and let's get the day off and go play the wild card if that's what we have to do. So this is kind of the effect for now. The Miami Hurricanes are playing their game on Sunday instead of Saturday. They're going to wait for some of that storm to fully blow through if they can. Sam says, ask Bob what the weather's going to be in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm looking up the forecast, and it looks really nice in Atlanta for the next 10 days.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Look, I'm just coming off the morning show where Astano is showing me all the maps and models, and I'm saying Atlanta looks like it might be okay. By the way, this would be like Bob's last assignment. Hey, Bob, I know you're on the way out. Can you give me the forecast in Atlanta, please? Thanks. That'd be great. All right, Ash. Let's get to
our badness.
Let's get to some of the NFL Week 4 games that aren't on our board. As you know, every week we pick 6 games. These are some games in Week 4 that are not on our board. But Miami and Cincinnati is a very interesting one to kick off the week, isn't it?
Yeah. I think so too. Yep. I think it's an important one. It's important for both teams. But yeah, it's interesting for sure. I think I am going to lean Miami, but I don't know. I'm not, I wouldn't be surprised if Cincinnati wins.
Yeah, I would lean Miami here too. I don't know. I just feel like every team Cincinnati plays, I'm going to look at the other side and say, is this pass rush good enough to get to Joe Burrow? And more often than not, the answer is going to be yes.
Yeah.
And
so I think the Dolphins defense, we've talked about it, is good. Obviously,
they got to Josh Allen.
Yeah. Obviously their offense is one of the best in the league currently.
Yeah. Minnesota and New Orleans. That is in London. So I threw it up there just to remind people, hey, 9:30 Sunday morning, you've got football. So enjoy it. I don't know that it's a great game, but you got early Sunday morning football. Washington and Dallas, maybe people in the area interested if you're a Giants fan. Can Cooper Rush do it again? And my question, I guess, coming out of this game would be, if Dallas wins and Rush continues to play as well as he has played, where are we with the Dak Prescott situation?
That's not a conversation.
You play Dak.
Yeah, I don't think it's even a conversation. And that's not how I feel. That's just not, it's not going to be a conversation in Dallas.
You think the moment Dak Prescott is cleared to play, he starts?
Yes.
You don't think there's any way Dallas would say, we know you're cleared to play. Cooper hasn't lost yet, and he's looked pretty good doing it. Let's let you heal a little, maybe one more week.
There's a difference between, like, if he's 100% healthy and cleared. Okay, you cleared. We're going to give you an extra week or two to get 100% healthy. Yeah, maybe. Once he's 100% healthy, he's playing. Okay. You're paying that guy too much? It's just, you can't play Cooper Rush when you have Dak Prescott. Even if it doesn't work out, I think if you put him back in and we go back to the 3-point showing that we had in week 1 with Dak, then maybe you make a decision.
They're 4-1. They're 5-1. Dak is unquestionably going back. Okay.
I believe that. Yes. I'm not saying it's the right decision, but I believe that.
Okay. Denver and Vegas. I mean, my goodness, Vegas. I mean, they're 0-3. This team, I don't know what to say about them.
If they can't beat the Broncos, they will not beat anyone all year long.
Yeah, Denver's not good, and yet they're
2-1. I know. They're the worst 2-1 team that there's ever been.
Yeah. They're worse than the Giants 2-1 team. I know that.
Yeah, they're not good. And I'm not saying the
Rams
Giants are good, but that's a bad 2-1 team.
Rams and Niners are the Monday night game, and again, just another interesting.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
Another interesting game on the slate. All right, we're going to get to our Pick Six Vodka NFL Pick'em right after this. Everybody, back in less than 30 seconds.
Happiness is found in simple things: the sun on your face, sharing laughs, at the campground, getting wet, relaxing together, the love of family. There's never been a better time to go outside and play. Alpenhaus Pool Spa Boat and RV, bringing families together and creating memories since 1964.
And now back to Onorato and Company. Brought to you by Alpenhaus.
Okay, Ash. Performance Industrial, Dirty Difficult, done. Still to come on the show. How did we do last week? How did we do? Well, here's the evidence.
We did equally awfully.
Not strong.
Is that a thing?
Not strong. Back-to-back weeks of 2 and 4 for me, and now sitting at 7 and 11 with you. This is not good. This is not good.
Nope. Back-to-back weeks of 2 and 4 for me as well. I had a really good week 1 and then not so good the rest of the way.
Were you 1 and 5 last week?
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Well, hey, accuracy is important.
I know.
Accuracy is
I really won one game.
Very, very important. All right, stand by here. We have like 2 people controlling things here. I've lost one of our games, but I've got it back. I lost a couple of games, actually. Here we go. Here's the first game on our slate here. Bills at the Ravens. Home dogs. I like home dogs.
I know you.
So I am taking the Baltimore Ravens here to at least cover. They might win outright, but to at least cover. And for Lamar Jackson to give this Bills defense absolute fits. He's the MVP 3 weeks into the season. I'm on Baltimore, Ash.
Yeah, I'm on Buffalo only because of last week's loss, but I agree. But Lamar Jackson could cause real problems for this defense, especially if they don't get any one of those 5 players back who were missing last week. And we know they won't get several of them, but Dane Jackson should be back.
Yep.
I'm not sure about Ed Oliver. They need some of those guys back. Phillips, they need him back.
So we're split on the first game of the weekend, and that is Buffalo and Baltimore. Game 2 here. I'm not taking my foot off the Giants gas pedal here. I'm on Big Blue. The Bears
let you down last week.
Yeah, but the Bears are bad. The Bears are bad. And again, another home game for New York here. Give me the Giants at home to win by more than a field goal.
The Giants didn't let me down because I picked against them last week, and the Cowboys did me a solid. If I'm gonna lose, my team has to lose, then it better be for the betterment of my picks. I don't love Chicago either, but I'm just not convinced that this is a really good Giants team yet. So I think it's probably a very competitive game because I think they're probably both just kind of okay. But yeah, I could see it going your way as well.
Yep.
I'm going with the Bears.
Okay, fair enough. Game 3 on the slate here.
Oh, we're together on this one.
Jets and Steelers. What do you mean? We're not together on this one.
I know.
Yeah.
We've been opposite on everything.
Yep. So I'm going. Zach Wilson is back. We think he's probably back.
Yeah, I think
so I'm going Jets here against a Steelers team that still is not committed to the quarterback. And this is where I just feel like I don't think Trubisky's going to play well without support from everybody. Like, I think he knows his clock is ticking. So give me the Jets here, committed with the guy Zach Wilson coming back and some weapons and a Steelers defense that doesn't have TJ Watt and all that.
You've convinced me that my pick is wrong. Thanks.
Oh boy. Well, that didn't take much.
Listen, honestly, I was hoping that they would go with Kenny Pickett.
Yeah. Okay. Jacksonville and Philadelphia. Now, done okay with the Jags as underdogs here.
Yeah, this is our first matching pick, and
who would have thought it'd be Jacksonville? The Eagles are favored by 6. That's a 6.5 on your screen there. They are a 3-0 football team, and they've looked pretty darn good doing it. Just barely escaped Detroit week 1, but pretty good after that. Yeah. And yet you and I both sit here and say Jacksonville to cover, right? Not to win, to cover.
No. Yeah, we're not that smart.
No, I'm telling you, they will lose by less than a touchdown. Less than a touchdown,
right,
Philadelphia.
Tell me
this is the Doug Peterson revenge game.
Yeah,
you can't overstate that.
I think that the Jags are on the verge of being a really good team.
Yeah, they are.
They have a lot of things going for them. We've talked about the draft picks that are panning out for them finally, since they've picked in the basement. Trevor Lawrence, we know what he did in college. We know how good he is. He needs the weapons around him. He finally has some weapons around him. And listen, I think the contract to Christian Kirk was absurd, but he's a talented receiver. He hasn't had a guy in a long time like that. And there you go. You get it's starting to work for them. It's all starting to work. I think the Eagles are very good. They're going to win their division. I think running away probably, but I'm going with the Jags. We'll see. If they put up 38 again, they're probably going to be in the conversation.
You got it. Patriots, Packers. This is the Sunday game of the week, 425. There's no Mac Jones, so Green Bay doesn't have to do. But as I said on our KPM Restoration Rapid Reaction, is there really a difference? Not a huge enough difference for me. And I just am not going to – I don't feel good giving a Bill Belichick team 10.5 points. So Green Bay wins, but I think it's, 7 to 10 point game.
I could definitely see that. It's not like Green Bay's offense has been gangbusters by any stretch. I don't believe in Mac Jones, but I don't believe in comparing Brian Hoyer to Mac Jones. They're not the same. So I went Packers. You picked against the Packers last week. I didn't, and they came through for me. So I'm just going with my good old standbys here.
Yeah, it worked okay for you last week as well. All right, before we get to the Sunday night game.
And now your weekly NFL Pick'em, presented by Pick 6 Vodka.
The game of the week on NBC and News Channel 13 is Chiefs and Buccaneers. Before that, though, Sam has a question. When was the last time the Pats were that big of a dog? Couldn't tell you, Sam.
Yeah, 10.5. I bet you they have been recently a 10.5 point dog.
Oh, I would say pre-Brady. Gotta be. Even when Brissett and Garoppolo started games early in the year, there's no way that had to be pre-Brady.
They weren't a 10.5 point dog at any point last year. He's a rookie quarterback.
Good question. We'd have to go back to look at last year, but I bet not. I don't know. I think people were still drinking the Belichick Kool-Aid then. All right, so Chiefs at Bucks. This is a small favorite here for Kansas City, 2.5, but we both like the road team. Now, to start off the segment, I said I love me some home dogs, but apparently not in this game.
Yeah, I like Chiefs. I think they shot themselves in the foot last week. They should be 3-0. They're not. The Bucks are tough for me. They haven't been convincing. They just haven't looked good. Even when they're winning, they don't look good doing it. Now, granted, he's going to have Evans back this week, so that offense will look a little better, but I'm still on the Mahomes train. I think we made a big deal about the argument, whatever kerfuffle it was between Mahomes and Eric Bieniemy. It probably was nothing. I'm sure at the end of the game, they were like, yeah, no big deal. But I think they're just going to come out and be ready to try to stick it to him.
Yeah, and I think that Tampa offense is just not going to be good enough to hang with Kansas City. All right, Nick Matalone is our guest picker this week. Marcella's Appliance Center. This guy's been good to the show. He is a huge Cincinnati Bengals fan.
You're about to find out how big.
And he's got a big game tonight here with Cincy now 1-2 taking on the 3-0 Miami Dolphins. Nick, man, it's good to have you on the show, buddy.
Hooday!
I know the Marcellus logo behind you, man. How are you?
Good. How are you?
We're good, dude. Thank you for doing this with us.
No problem. Glad to be a part of it. Finally.
Let's see what you're up against here, because as you know, we've been alternating back and forth between a local nonprofit and one of our supporters. And at the end of the year, the local nonprofit rep with the best record is going to get a nice little donation courtesy of the show and of our partners. So here is what you're up against, man. Nobody has been better than 3-3. Now, while you can't be the recipient of the donation, Ash has put in here kind of last minute that the local business partner who has the best record will get dinner on us. So you've got to beat Andy Heck from Alpenhaus right now. He's set the bar at 3-3.
Okay, well, we'll do our best. It's not been the easiest year to pick.
No,
man. And I don't.
Every time, Nick, I'm like, we got through last week, and I'm like, you have to be kidding me. Every time you think you know something about the NFL,
it's too unpredictable, especially this year. It's crazy.
Yep.
I don't think this week is easy either, Nick. All right, you're on Baltimore here, man. Tell us why you're not picking the Bills, who are favored on the road.
Well, I don't know that they win outright, but I don't know. You got two really high-powered offenses here, two of the best quarterbacks in the league, a lot of weapons. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I see it being close. So I like, Justin Tucker's a heck of a kicker if it comes down to that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, the defenses. I don't know that they're going to stop anybody. I think the offenses are too talented, and the quarterbacks are too good. So I like to be a close game in Baltimore to cover that spread. Plus, they're home.
I'm gonna need some big performances by my teams in these first two games, because you two are in cahoots in these first two. Nick, you buying the Giants, or you just not really buying the Bears?
I'm not really buying the Bears. I mean, I think that the Giants' defense against the Bears' offense, I like that matchup. I think the Giants do enough to squeak this one out, and I think they'll cover. I think they'll score enough to cover. I mean, if Chicago gets a lucky bounce somewhere, it could go the other way. But I don't. That Fields is just not. He's just not putting up points. So, and the Giants really aren't either. But I think they'll do enough here at home.
And you're convinced the return of Zach Wilson is not enough, like me, although despite Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah. Again, this is one of those games. You get, Zach coming back. We just don't know what he's going to look like or what he's going to do. The Jets are the Jets, unfortunately. And the Steelers, they're home. They kind of got a little mojo at home. They beat my Bengals a couple of weeks ago, even though that was on the road. So I think Steelers, I think they don't make mistakes, and I think they cover this one.
When was the last time three people who claimed to know something about football, or at least watched a lot of football, picked the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Never.
In a segment like this, man. Why the Jags, Nick?
I don't know. When the season started, I thought the Lions might be a surprise team, and they look like they're coming around. But I don't know. Jacksonville, I like what their defense is doing. They got that Devin Lloyd, the rookie, playing outstanding. Lawrence he looks like night and day from this year to last year. They got some weapons, as Ashley pointed out. I think they can keep it close. I mean, I think they could maybe win the game. Philly's a great team, but I think this is going to be one of the best games of the week.
Oh, my turn. You like the Packers, as do I. Chris continues to pick against his team.
He never picks his team. I don't know. I give him credit for that, because whenever I pick my team.
This is me too, though. You're like, all right, well, I win either way. Either my team wins and I lose on the pick, or I win on the pick and my team loses.
I don't know. I feel like when I pick my team, they lose a lot. So
yeah.
which isn't hard to do for the Bengals before last year. But yeah, I don't know.
Almost always religiously pick your team, no?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
in rare instances, if it's a mismatch, you may not do it, but usually I do. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I will do it. But I don't know. I don't know. Without Mac Jones,
Yeah.
New England, I don't think their defense. I don't know. They're not playing all that great either. Hoyer. I think I saw something. He's like 1-11 in his last 12 starts or something, and he's been around a long time, but I don't know. Can they keep it close? I don't know. I'm just not convinced. I think Green Bay, I think they start getting the offense going this week.
Look, if there's going to be a game where Green Bay gets right, it has to be this one at home against, and I'm not even just talking about the Brian Hoyer situation, Nick, to your point. New England's defense is far from great. So if Green Bay can't figure it out this week, man, we got some real problems.
I mean, like you
and then
said,
we're all on the Chiefs.
Bill Belichick factor,
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Green Bay's for me, yeah.
All on the Chiefs Sunday night here. Don't know exactly where the game will be played yet, but we don't seem to care. We're on Kansas City.
Yeah, I think Kansas City, especially coming off the loss last week, they should have won that game. As Ashley said too, Tampa, something looks off with them. Brady, just look at a sink. I know they get a lot of weapons back this week, so you never can know what's going to happen there. I mean, Brady's Brady, so I hated picking against him in this game, but it's the Chiefs and they got a lot of weapons, so. I don't know. I think they're just playing better, and I think they'll pull this one out. And like you said, we don't even know where this game's going to get played.
All right, man. The game you care about. We brought you on for 6 games that didn't even include your team
Yeah.
because it's the Thursday nighter, and as
most of our audience is going to watch this after the game's already over.
Yeah, as you know, we can be seen Saturday night and Sunday morning now on News Channel 13. So a couple of different opportunities over the weekend to watch Onorato and Company with Marcella's Appliance Center, one of our supporters on the show. So, right, this game is in the books by the time people see the show on TV. But Bengals, Dolphins, man, how do you guys pull this off?
Well, I think the short week actually helps us in this situation. I think Miami had a big emotional win against Buffalo. They got kind of lucky, but they pulled it out. And I don't know, Bengals, they seem to get their act together a little bit against the Jets. The offense looked better. They were throwing it downfield more. They had a couple of plays over 40 yards that we hadn't seen till last week. I mean, none of these guys, their offensive line, they got 4 new guys, played no preseason. They're starting to get in sync with each other. The defense has been great all year. They've only given up 3 touchdowns the whole season. So I like their chances. I just think and Tyreek Hill talking trash. He can't have that. He ain't coming to the jungle and being the cheetah and walking away with a win. That just ain't going to happen. So it's going to be a who day all day. And I think the Bengals will be 2-2 at the end. Burrow's not going to let us down. But it's Burrow against Tua, which is interesting.
Cool.
They had all the battles with LSU and Alabama. So it's going to be a great game. You got Waddle and Chase and Tua and Burrow and all, Higgins, all these guys, they're superstars. So it's going to be a fun game. But I think being home, coming off the short week, he's Burrow. He's Joe Cool. So I got to go with him. I
love it. This was fun, Nick. Thanks for hopping on with us, man. You. Good luck this week. We'll be keeping a close eye. And your name will be up on the leaderboard somewhere next week.
We'll see. Hopefully we do Marcella's justice here.
There you go, man. All right. Yeah. Say hello to Johnny and the rest of the crew over there for us.
Thanks, Ashley. Thanks, Chris.
All right. Nick Matalone from Marcella's Appliance Center with us here on Onorato and Company. A full look there at that Bengals hat. How about it, huh?
So good. This is from Sam. He did some research for us. 2020. Cam had COVID. 11-point dogs to the Chiefs. So listen, and before that, it was like you said, pre-Brady basically. So
yeah,
or early Brady.
Sam, the show researcher here, we appreciate all the help
hired,
you
Sam.
can get at absolute all times. All right, when we come back here on Onorato and Company, the Dirty Difficult Done, brought to you by Performance Industrial, still to come on the show. We will also look at the college football slate. There are 5 games this week that pit top 25 team against top 25 team. There's some college football worth watching. And speaking of Marcellus, we've got that MVP of the Month award still to give away here. We're back right after this.
I don't care what kind of stories that's been told on you. That may be a lot of things in life you used to do. If you can't give true love to me, I'll understand. Just do the best you can.
Michelob Ultra, 2.6 carbs and 95 calories.
And now back to Onorato and Company. Brought to you by Alpenhouse.
We've already told you a couple of ways you can watch us on the weekend on My 4 and News Channel 13. Couple of new times, 6 p.m. Saturday, My 4, 6 a.m. Sunday, News Channel 13. You can just listen to the show if you're tired of looking at the two of us. That's okay.
You don't want to see our faces?
Just tell your smart
Don't do it.
audio device at home. She has a name that I won't utter. It starts with an A. It's not Ashley. And just tell that device, play the podcast Onorato and Company, and it will do just that. We are on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We are on Amazon Music. So you can check us out audio version only each and every week if you would like. Ash, you saw this on social media. Certainly worth talking about here. A fabulous Section 2 soccer player headed to the big-time world of North Carolina.
I mean, this is, listen, when you're talking specifically women's college soccer, this is the program. This is the program you want to go to. It's the best program in the country, has been for 25 years. And yeah, Claire Hutton from Bethlehem has committed to North Carolina. We knew she would go big. She's gone as big as she can go. She's been on national teams already, U.S. national teams. This is a girl who, in my opinion, has the chance to be the greatest soccer player to ever come out of Section 2. Our buddy Jeff Warnick, she's the most talented soccer player I've ever seen. Not that I've seen tons of soccer in my life, but our buddy Jeff Warnick brought up two names, because I did say this to him this morning. I said, I think she has the chance to be one of the best soccer players to ever come out of this area. And he reminded me that Damian Silvera, who you may know, and Miles Joseph, both Shen products, played at UVA and Clemson respectively, were both members of the 1996 Olympic team. So she's got a little bit of work to do to get there, but I do think that she has the chance to be, she's a name that people, nationally and internationally might know at some point in the very near future.
Those are two good names.
And their names I forgot about or didn't know about. It was like the late 80s, early 90s. So
yeah. Here's the Saturday slate for college football. Kentucky Ole Miss is going to be fun. The number one pick in the NFL draft is Will Levis right now. He's the quarterback of the number 7 Kentucky Wildcats. How about that? Again, at the Grove at Ole Miss.
Our cousins
that'll be a fun one.
Be there, right?
Now I think that's a noon kick. I would hope that our cousins are there. That's a noon kick, I believe, at Ole Miss. That'll be a fun one.
Yeah.
ACC showdown with Wake Forest and Florida State. Another good one. NC State, Clemson. So you've got two ACC head-to-heads here of top 25 teams. NC State has cracked the top 10. They are at Clemson, and then Bama, Arkansas. If you're going to watch one of these, Ash, what are you picking?
I think it's Kentucky Ole Miss, but I'm more interested, I think, in Wake Forest FSU, because to me, that is going to show us exactly how back Florida State is or not. You know what I mean? I think Wake Forest is as legit as it gets. Yeah. But I think it'll tell us a lot about FSU. I'm an ACC girl. That's where my team is. The ACC is as talented this year as it's been in a very long time, top to bottom. So I am just kind of inherently interested in the ACC. But yeah, Kentucky Ole Miss is going to be a blast.
And you will obviously pay close attention to what happens at Syracuse this weekend with Wagner in town. And that leads us to this.
It's time for the Marcella's Appliance Center MVP of the month.
Boy, beginning of the year, I don't know that we would have ever said MVP of the month in relation to the Syracuse football program, but the Orange are 4-0. They'll be 5-0. And so your boy is our MVP of the month, Ash. Marcella's Appliance Center MVP of the month.
And who would have thought after watching last season with Garrett Schrader that he would be our Marcella's MVP of the month? This is a guy who seems like a different quarterback. I attribute a lot of it to the new offensive coordinator and the new quarterbacks coach, both of whom came from Virginia, the team that they just beat 22-20 last week. But Garrett Schrader has looked like a different quarterback. 66.4% completion percentage, 8 touchdowns, 1 interception. Those are numbers you'll take every day of the week. And he's coming off arguably his worst game against Virginia, in which he had no touchdowns and the 1 interception. So before that, he was 8 touchdowns, no interceptions. I think Syracuse, I'm not going to, you ask if they're for real all the time. They're better. And that's kind of where I'll leave it. I think we will come back to a close to 500 level after the gauntlet that is their schedule over the next 5 weeks.
Yeah, well, right. So if I ask all the time, are they real? Wagner and then a bye week, and then they play number 10 NC State. And that's the end of what was a 4-game homestand, if you will. And then they have to deal with Wake Forest and Clemson and Notre Dame and Florida State. And it won't be easy after Wagner, that's for sure. But not in the stat bar here, and they tell you with live TV and radio, don't ask a question you don't know the answer to, or at least know that your partner knows the answer to this. These are 8 passing touchdowns, correct?
I believe so.
He's got rushing touchdowns as well. So my point is, right, he's accounting for even more offense than you're currently seeing on your screen, and that's what makes him such a valuable player.
Yeah. Sam, would you take it easy, man? Crushing them. I get it, but they're about to literally play 5 top 20, currently 5 top 25 teams in the next 6 weeks or 7 weeks. So take it easy.
Yeah. They may be at the end of the day more of a 500 team than anything more than that. All right, one last break here on the show. When we come back, the Performance Industrial Dirty Difficult Done. One of my boys from growing up in hot water again.
He's always in hot water.
And a comment from a college basketball coach that quite honestly shocked us. Back right after this.
You've heard of unsung heroes. The men and women of Nyscoba are the unseen heroes. For the past year, you've learned about our many charitable endeavors. Now it is my privilege to share with you the work performed by our members, the 20,000 state correction and law enforcement officers shielded from view. They work in difficult and dangerous conditions and are an extension of the police who protect our neighborhoods. Nyscoba honors New York's police and firefighters and salutes its own members who help deliver a peaceful night's sleep.
Fire, water, smoke, mold, and sewage cleanup. Reconstructing your home after a disaster can be both stressful and demanding. KPM Restoration will work quickly to restore your home. We'll help provide complete damage restoration to your property.
My problem was that I was traveling. There was a leak in my basement. We called KPM. They came in at 9 o'clock at night and were there till 2 o'clock in the morning until the problem was solved.
KPM Restoration. We'll get you back to normal.
And now back to Onorato and Company. Brought to you by Alpenhaus.
Jamie Kennedy and his KPM Restoration team, they are in Florida trying to help the situation after a Category 4 hurricane named Ian slammed into the state. The team at Marcella says good pick with Syracuse back in the top 25.
We got to get some NIL deal with send our MVPs a fridge or something.
Well, mini fridge. Do you still do mini fridges in dorm rooms? Is that still a thing? I've been out of college for so long. Speaking of the storm, now look, it's a serious situation. We don't really know the breadth of the devastation and loss of life. But We're got to bring some levity to this situation here. Did you see this reporter in Florida in how she protected her microphone? I don't think they taught this in sex ed back in the day. That is exactly what you think it is.
I did
covering the microphone.
I mean, I guess I did think like, yeah, it's probably a pretty good idea. I would just have found something else.
Apparently now she's claiming that reporters in Florida have been told to use condoms in the past to cover microphones and valuable electronic equipment. This to me feels a little over the top, but that is practicing safe reporting apparently in Florida. So just had to share that one moment that has gone viral on social media.
Connecting your mic.
Okay. Interesting
They're
stuff.
expensive.
They are expensive. That is true. All right, Ash, let's get into Dirty Difficult Done.
And now, Dirty, Difficult, and Done. Presented by Performance Industrial.
Bill Miller and his group, part of that Real Men Wear Pink campaign each and every October as we come upon Breast Cancer Awareness Month with the American Cancer Society. Bill Miller and Performance Industrial, they do great things to support ACS and other nonprofits around the capital region just like it. All right, Ash, you are up first.
All right. Even seeing her now bothers me. So this is Kim Mulkey. She's currently the LSU basketball coach, formerly the Baylor basketball coach, women's basketball. There she is with Jen Griner. To me, her silence or singular comment, which was a reporter asked her, hey, we haven't seen you say anything, heard you say anything about Jen Griner's detainment in Russia. And she said, quote, and you won't, end quote. And that was it. Moved on to the next. Listen, no matter your political beliefs, whether you think she did something wrong or not, she is a human. If you love her, have a relationship with her, you recruited her, she helped you go 40-0 and won you a national championship. The least you can say is, even if you wanted to say what she did was wrong, but I wish her the best, I hope she comes home. How hard is that? Yeah. You seem like a heartless, hard, kind of just terrible person. I know you have to go to yours, so...
That's okay. Do you have a friend named Jen Griner? Brittany Griner we're talking about here,
sorry.
right?
Sorry. Yeah, Brittany Griner. My bad. Yeah.
I thought Ashley must know it.
I played against a Jen Griner in high school.
Well, that's why then.
Really enough.
Okay, there you go. All right, here's my Dirty Difficult Done. Brett Favre, who was my boy back in the day as a Packers fan, is in some dirty dealings here. Paid more than $1 million for speaking engagements he didn't even show up at. He has repaid that money, but now we're talking more than like $5 million in a welfare fraud case here. Some of that money from Favre's foundation going towards a volleyball facility at Southern Miss where his daughter played. It's all just shady. And again, it's just Favre being way too Favre. Like, you have had too many missteps, man, in your life and career to be embroiled in this kind of controversy now. Like, can we please, from the rest of what's going on here, clean it up a little bit? This is obviously a bad look for Favre. I hate to see it as a Packers guy who rooted for him like crazy back in the day, and he's been welcomed back to Green Bay with open arms after Minnesota and all. Ugly, man. It's dirty. It's dirty. It's dirty. So 2 dirties from us here. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks for watching Onorato and Company.